They harassed my daughter in public, called her a sinner for rejecting her dead father's affair babies. So I made sure the entire church saw the truth, in full color. It all started on a cool Saturday morning that was supposed to be filled with birthday giggles and sweet chocolate. My youngest daughter had just turned 15, and I gave her a budget to go wild at our local farmer's market, her favorite place for homemade sweets, fresh pastries, and her weekly chocolate overload. We were keeping her birthday party for later in the month, but this small outing was our little celebration. She was glowing. Until she called me. Crying. She was cornered by 6 old women. Strangers to her, but not to me. They were from my ex-mother-in-law's church. My daughter could barely speak through the tears, but I rushed over with my older daughter at my side. I found them, 6 sharp-tongued women dressed in their Sunday best, towering over my child like vultures, throwing accusations and shame like it was the Lord's work. They called her unchristian for refusing to bond with her orphaned half-brothers. They blamed her for ignoring her grieving grandparents, my ex-husband's parents. Let me pause and explain what they didn't know. My ex-husband had cheated on me. Got his affair partner pregnant with twins. Both he and the woman died in a car crash last year, leaving the babies behind. It was my daughters who discovered his affair. They found the messages. The photos. The betrayal. Trauma doesn't even begin to cover it. They've been in therapy ever since. And now strangers, brainwashed by my ex-MIL, were harassing them for not playing happy family with the fallout of their father's lies? Unforgivable. I stepped between them and my sobbing daughter, my voice calm but my rage boiling beneath the surface. I told my oldest to get her sister's things and wait in the car. I turned to those women, some of whom I recognized from years ago when we still went to that church. They were still carrying the same smug self-righteousness. And they tried to turn it on me. One of them actually said I was a disgrace to Christian womanhood. For not obeying my ex-in-laws. For not giving those poor old people a place to stay. Barf. The argument got loud. Too loud. Eventually, market staff asked us all to leave. As I walked away with my girls, those women followed us to the car like a pack of whispering hyenas. I managed to get my daughters inside and drive away, furious, humiliated, and tired. But it wasn't over. Not even close. Later that night, after putting my girls to bed, I logged onto Facebook. I had a contact from that same church, someone decent. I asked what was going on. What he told me. My ex-MIL had posted a massive sob story in their church group. A public Facebook group. She painted us, me and my daughters, as heartless monsters who refused to take in 2 innocent children and abandoned grieving elderly parents. She claimed her son had used a surrogate, yes, you read that right, because I couldn't have more kids. She even said I rejected the babies because they were boys. I felt sick. Not only was she rewriting history, she was weaponizing it, using her church's pity to harass my daughters. But the church made one mistake. They were strictly against cheating. And I had proof. When my husband died, we were mid-divorce. I had already collected everything I needed, his cheating messages, pictures, conversations with his mistress, his admissions, even his parents' messages supporting the affair and blaming my daughters for exposing it. They literally called my girls bastards and blamed them for their father's death, as if truth-telling caused the accident. So, I took the next day off. I went to a print shop and paid extra for high-resolution prints of every text, photo, and email. I printed everything. I printed everything. I even made custom hymn-style binders with these pages. The first page? A full-color photo of my ex making out with his mistress in our living room. Below it, the love story of ex's name and mistress name. The rest of the binder followed with dates, screenshots, emails, and cruel messages from his parents calling my daughters a curse. Then came the final touch. I dropped a stack of these binders at the church the following Sunday, quietly placing them on the hymn book table where everyone picks up materials before service. And then I waited. Within 24 hours, the church Facebook group went wild. The very people who had praised my ex-in-laws turned on them like a switch had flipped. People were furious. The same women who had harassed my daughter at the market were now deleting their comments, backpedaling in whispers. The pastor had to step in just to keep the posts PG-rated. But it was too late. The truth had echoed. My ex-in-laws became the villains, not because I twisted the story, but because I exposed it exactly as it happened. And the poetic irony? The same church that once scolded me for failing my husband now sent me handwritten letters apologizing to my daughters. One even invited me to come back to the church when I'm ready. But I'm never going back. My ex-Mil, however, posted on her personal page how heartless this generation is, how she and her husband are abandoned and unloved, and how her great son would have never let this happen. I'm sorry, but with what money? He never provided. I was the breadwinner. I paid for everything, including the funeral. The final result? They were shamed out of the church. My daughters? Healing. Slowly, but healing. And most importantly, safe from the lies that almost crushed them. So, what would you have done in my place? Would you have stayed quiet to keep the peace? Or would you have let the truth echo through the very walls where the lies began? Let me know in the comments below. And if you believe in truth, justice, and the strength of a mother, subscribe for more stories like this one. Because some voices should never be silenced.